I'm going to start this episode by reading from this excerpt in one of my books, which says, "Your life is not limited to the only things happening in it at the moment. So much more can still be made of your life, but that is dependent on how much you're willing to work on yourself." Today, I want to talk about the fact that you are made for more. And honestly, for someone like me, when I was growing up, I just wanted a regular life. I wanted to, graduate from school. I wanted to have a boyfriend. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have a good job, have my kids, and, just live a regular life, a fun-filled life. And I'm not saying all of that to say that my life is boring, but I'm saying that oftentimes we all have plans for our lives. Like, we have things that we desire to do for ourselves. We have our own idea of how our lives should be. But one thing I've come to realize is that we don't own ourselves. God owns our lives. So it's not wrong for you to have ambitions. It's not wrong for you to have plans. But one thing we have to be conscious of is the fact that we didn't create ourselves. God created us, and He created us for a purpose. So if God created us for a purpose, then it means that there is a responsibility that lies on us to actually fulfill God's purpose for our lives. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting to just go to school, graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, and your life continues, right? But beyond the plans, I want you to begin to see and begin to know that for a fact, there is more to your life than all of these things that you have in your mind. There's more to your life than all of these things that you wish is happening for you, or all of these things that you wish would happen for you or happen to you. Because, like I said, we all are created for a purpose, and the responsibility lies on us to fulfill God's purpose for our lives. And in the place of fulfilling God's purpose for our lives, God might decide to alter some things about our plans. It might actually even disrupt all the plans that you have. And trust me, that is not funny at all. It's not funny. It's not sweet. It's not pleasant when you have your plans and God just suddenly shows up and it feels like it disrupts your plan. One thing I know is that in life, things happen to us, but most of the times, they don't just happen to us alone. They happen for us. They happen for us. When the Bible was talking about all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to His purpose. So the question is, do you love God? Are you called according to His purpose? If you are called according to His purpose, then I can assure you that He would, at any time He pleases, disrupt your plans. So it's okay to have plans. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to have your personal visions. But at the same time, I want you to come to a place whereby you leave that space for God to actually disrupt your plans. Because His plans for you are better than the plans you have for yourself. The Bible in the book of Jeremiah talks about the fact that I know the plans that I have for you, plans of good and not of evil. He has the plans. And then when things happen in our lives and it doesn't make sense, like you lose someone and you feel like, how can this be God's plan for my life? Like, losing someone is not pleasant. Losing someone is very sad. But even in the midst of the loss, I want you to begin to see that God have plans for your life. I wrote something in one of the books that I'm writing, and this particular chapter is talking about the fact that we are called into something bigger, which is why sometimes God would actually interrupt our plans, because we are called into something bigger than ourselves, bigger than our imagination, bigger than what we can even think of. I wrote in this part of the book where I said, One thing I've learned in the course of my life is that there is nothing regular about our existence as children of God. We all have been called to an extraordinary life, regardless of what sphere of life we belong to. So you might feel like, oh, I'm in the baking industry, I'm in the fashion industry, I'm in the medical industry, I'm in the finance industry. There is nothing irregular about it. In as much as you are called according to his purpose, there's nothing regular about that field of work that you're in right now. You might actually even feel it's a coincidence that you're in that field of work, or you're in that line of business that you're in. But there's nothing, there's nothing ordinary about it. God has intentions. Like, God does things with intentions. He doesn't just do things the way we do things. You know that for us as humans, we can be very inconsistent. Today you want something, tomorrow you want another thing. But God is very consistent, and that is why he is very intentional about the things that happens in our lives, the places he allows us go to, the kind of people he allows us meet and interact with. Even though sometimes you feel like, oh, this is my doing, it's because I went to this place that I met this person. But let me shock you that if you are called according to his purpose, he would orchestrate your life in ways that even you will not even know that it is God that is planning all of these things. Like, God is that intentional about us. There was a time I actually had a thought that if it's possible for God to deliberately plant some people in our lives to help us fulfill his purpose, then it's actually possible for him to take some people out completely, just so that we can pay attention to what he's calling us into. That is so powerful for me, because there are times that I've actually questioned God. And I'm like, God, how would you allow me lose this person? I lost my mom when I was very young, at the age of 13 years old. And then when I was 25 years old, I lost my dad. And when I lost my dad, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, I am now an orphan. What next? And even though sometimes this still doesn't really make sense to me, but I've come to understand and realize that things don't just happen to us. Things happen for us. Things happen for us. They happen to us and happen for us. They happen for us for our good, for our edification, for the good of others, for the impacts that we're going to give to other lives around us, for the inspiration that we have to give to others. Some things just have to happen in our lives. And so sometimes it doesn't make sense. A relationship that you've invested so much into just ends up, and you are feeling like, am I not good enough? Didn't I try enough? Maybe I could have done better. Yeah, it's true. It's possible that there are lessons you can learn from occurrences in your life. But the gist is, or what I'm trying to let you understand, is that sometimes some of these things have to happen so that God can actually have our attention. So if you're watching this right now, I want you to know that you are made for more. So much more than you think. God has purposefully handpicked you. Have you ever wondered why your life is different from that of your neighbor or that of your friends? It's because God has chosen you. So whatever it is that God is asking you to do right now, I want to challenge you to begin to do it. Yes, because your life is not just about your life alone. There are destinies attached to your life. And the earlier you begin to tune in, to begin to do those things that God wants you to do, the better for you. Marriage doesn't complete you. Having kids doesn't complete you. Having a good job doesn't complete you. Being debt-free doesn't complete you. All of these things are good. They are nice to have. But your life is made for much more than all the things that is happening in your life right now. Your life is made for much more than the pain that you have refused to let go of. Your life is made for much more than the bitterness that you've been holding and locking inside of yourself. So, I just want to encourage you. and challenge you at the same time that you are made for more, and you need to begin to consciously seek the face of God to know, what am I supposed to do? What more is expected of me to fulfill God's purpose and calling for my life? So thank you for watching up until this moment. If this has blessed you, please remember to share with someone, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified when new content like this come up. And this would also help us reach out to so many other people who need messages like this. Thank you once again. God bless you. I love you so much. Until I see you again, keep thriving.